Republicans are set to overturn abortion. In a country that demand their citizens be Christian and only Christian, police brutalize protesters.
Go ahead! Go ahead! Go ahead!
This is the response from the Los Angeles Police Department when people protest in the streets. Some officers displayed their guns to intimidate the protesters. Others pointed them, appearing ready to pull the trigger.
Look at you people just want to put on your costumes, draw on your cardboard signs.
Well, hang on a second. This counter-protester proclaims all protesters want to do is draw on cardboard signs. Can you explain your cardboard sign, ma'am? This is the police response to nonviolent protest in America. Meanwhile, the mayor of LA wants to increase the budget, which would be a total of roughly $3.2 billion. That's per Kenneth Mejia, who is running for LA City Controller.
Are you kidding me?
One protester who took this video says she was struck by a DHS squad car.
The political landscape rumbling loudly tonight after the explosive leak of a draft Supreme Court opinion overturning Roe versus Wade, the landmark decision that established the constitutional right to abortions in this country.
The leaked draft from the Supreme Court set off many.
I am angry. Angry and upset? Angry and upset and determined. The United States Congress can keep Roe versus Wade the law of the land. They just need to do it.
Including Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I've never seen you so angry. You seem to be...
This is what the Republicans have been working toward this day for decades. They have been out there plotting, carefully cultivating these Supreme Court justices so they could have a majority on the bench who would accomplish something that the majority of Americans do not want.
And guess what? She's right. Polls show that between 60 and 65% of Americans say Roe should remain. The draconian laws Republicans are already proposing at the state level could be even more unpopular. In 2021, more than 500 women athletes from various sports urged the Supreme Court to protect Roe v. Wade. U.S. women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe said, as women athletes and people in sports, we must have the power to make important decisions about our own bodies and exert control over our reproductive lives. I am honored to stand with the hundreds of athletes who have signed onto the Supreme Court brief to help champion not only our constitutional rights, but also those of future generations of athletes. The 500 plus athletes who signed the amicus brief at the time argue that the physical body is a critical tool for athletes, and as such, athletic prowess depends on bodily integrity. Women's competitive sports would be compromised by such a sweeping ban on abortions, as would many elite athletes' futures and livelihoods.
Don't have any agenda.
A woman has had the right to make decisions for her body since Roe v. Wade in 1973. If Roe fails, millions of Americans would lose access to critical reproductive care. It is vital that we do all we can to protect this legislation. The Washington Mystics' Tiana Hawkins told the Post, I don't think there's ever a situation where someone who is not yourself should say, oh, well, you can't keep your baby, or you should keep your baby, or stuff like that. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's your decision, and you should have the freedom to do that. But what if you want to conceive, and then the doctor says at early stages there is a deformity or something like that? You're telling me if I want to save my child from struggling or pain and stuff like that, I have to bring him into this world and just let him suffer and die and not do it early on? I just don't understand why we live in a society where we can't freely choose what we want to do. Hawkins continued. And that goes for everything. What we do with our body, who we sleep with, who we date. It's nobody's business. I only see it getting worse. And that's the scary part, especially when you have kids. Fellow Mystic star Natasha Cloud tweeted, America is not pro-life, they're pro-birth. We still pay women less than men. Not every woman has access to health care. We don't focus on fixing and building our education system. Price of housing, disgusting. America is forcing women to birth children they won't help care for. So again, y'all not pro-life. That would entail y'all giving a bleep about our country's continued shortcomings. America is not pro-life, they're pro-birth. The same people screaming it's a sin are more than likely for the death penalty. She caps it off with, it's been a war on women for some time now. And then she says the Constitution was written by white men for white men. Speaking of white men, when a troll did their trolling at CM Punk, he responded as follows. Are you going to cry, little B-word, asked the troll. A little bit, yeah, CM responded. For my wife, my sisters, my mothers, and women who are helplessly watching their rights over their own bodies stripped away by elite, rich, white, terroristic, religious fascists. Being human means I cry where injustices masquerade as religious right. Her body, her choice. The Phoenix Mercury's Breonna Turner wrote something many believe is egregious in setting precedent. It's kind of wild that 9 people have the power to make generational decisions for the U.S. population. World champion bobsledder Elena Myers-Taylor wrote, if someone passed a bill that held men financially responsible for the pregnant mom and the child until age 18, regardless if the baby is given up for adoption, I wonder what reproductive rights would look like. Karan J. Phillips of Deadspin wrote, in a country in which sports have been intertwined with politics and culture for decades, the white male athlete is a member of society that can reach levels of success that are often above reproach, making them unfireable. There's a reason why top flight white quarterbacks, hockey, baseball, and college basketball players can reach a certain level of celebrity and fame that's only allowed for them. This is why we should be challenging them to kneel for abortion rights, because, as they love to tell us, they have mothers, wives, and daughters too. I'm asking white athletes to grab the baton when it comes to kneeling for abortion rights, because we've already seen what happens when black athletes do it. Besides, the men of color that claim to be voices of the voiceless are usually silent on matters of this magnitude, and you see who he's pretty much taking a shot at. Simon Rosenblum Larson of the Tampa Bay Rays wrote, it's impossible to stand by and watch as a woman's right to choose gets ripped away by 2 abusers, Justice Thomas and Kavanaugh, a woman who built her legal career on anti-abortion propaganda, and 2 geriatric white men. The Senate should immediately end the filibuster and pass legislation protecting abortion rights. That's one of the strongest statements I have seen, with the detailed calls for policy change by an athlete. Sadly enough, this battle isn't just one to protect women, it's a battle that will affect all of us. Roe v. Wade is just the first box that Republicans are trying to check off their hateful wish list. Up next will be interracial marriage, gay rights, and Brown versus Board of Education. This is what the whitewashing of America looks like, because in case you haven't noticed yet, The Handmaid's Tale isn't fiction. It isn't a drama, it's a documentary. That means we need all hands on deck, which includes the white athletes who are some of the most revered and respected people in this country. And if they love women as much as they claim, kneeling to support them shouldn't be too big of an ask. We need way more voices out in front of this. And what's particularly interesting to me is we heard him get on his soapbox at every turn, no matter if it was inside an NFL building or on a popular show, ranting about how it should be my choice to get the vaccine. Even if I expose my fellow teammates to COVID, it should be my choice, and I have stacks of research, and it's my body, and I should do whatever I want with my body. Yet when it comes to this, you know who's fucking silent? Is Aaron freaking Rodgers. Oh, look at all this information I have. Look at all this stuff that I have been able to find about how the vaccine is bad and how it would affect my body and how I would live my life. Where is he? Where is he when it comes to this subject? That's right, he is silent. The hypocrisy within this is absolutely endless, and it's crap. Get out in front of it.